How to make the most of your virtual headache visit on today's episode of the Headache Channel. Welcome back to the Headache Channel. I'm Dr. Alexander Krob. I'm a full-time board-certified headache medicine doctor, and I've helped thousands of people living with headache live better. In today's episode, we'll talk about how to get the most out of your virtual headache visit. But before we start, please take a moment and click the subscribe button below. It shows YouTube and the world that people living with headache matter. Also, please remember that the Headache Channel is for information and entertainment purposes only. It is not medical advice. If you need medical advice, please see your doctor. The coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic is dramatically changing the way people living with headache get their headache care. One of the biggest changes is the end to face-to-face office visits. Instead of seeing your doctor in the office, you are probably going to be asked to do a virtual visit. The reason is that COVID-19 is a brand new virus that individuals and communities have no immunity to, and we have no vaccine or cure for. Most people who are infected with COVID-19 don't even really feel that sick, so it's easy to infect others, and surprisingly, some people who get it, even young, healthy people, get really sick and die. To make face-to-face visits safe for you and your healthcare providers, we're going to need antibody tests to identify people who have already had COVID and are probably immune, rapid point-of-care PCR tests to determine who is actively infected with coronavirus, and plenty of PPE like respirators and face shields for both doctors and patients. Until we have those three things, the safest way for you and your doctor to see each other is through virtual or telehealth visits. What's a virtual visit? It's a visit between you and your doctor using video conferencing. The good news is that it's a lot like using FaceTime, Skype, or Facebook Messenger video chat. And since you're watching this, you have the basic equipment that you need to have a successful telehealth virtual visit. But after dozens and dozens of virtual headache visits, take it from me, this is a radically new way of working together to solve headache problems during a crisis, and there's a huge learning curve. So, what can you do to make the most of your virtual headache visit? The first thing you can do is sign up for your provider's patient portal. A patient portal is a secure website that you can log into to access your electronic health record. If your provider uses an electronic health record, it probably has a patient portal. Examples include Epic's MyChart or Cerner's Healthy Life. A patient portal lets you send and receive secure emails and email attachments, things like forms or photographs, things that you or your doctor may have to complete for your visit. You can also update your medical records, including your medical history, your medications and allergies, and your pharmacy, and you can typically request refills. A patient portal lets you do a lot of the things that you and your doctor's medical staff would have done during an in-office visit. The next thing to do is get your hardware ready. You can use a smartphone. You can use a tablet. You can use a laptop. You can also use a desktop computer if you have a video camera and a headset. A virtual visit can last 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or even longer, so if you're using something that requires batteries, make sure they're fully charged or that you can plug it in. You'll also need a reasonably fast internet connection, something capable of about 1.5 Mbps or megabits per second. That's most DSL lines, most cable lines, most 4G and up cell phone plans. The next thing you can do is install, set up, and test drive the telehealth platform that your provider is using. Examples include Zoom, VC, and Skype. You may have to change your computer or smartphone settings to allow that platform to be able to access your camera and your microphone. Once you have your hardware and your software going, don't forget to do a test. Most platforms have a feature that lets you test your setup. The next thing you can do to really get the most out of your virtual encounter is to gather some simple equipment from around your home that will really help during your encounter. For vital signs, most of us have a bathroom scale, and we know or we can measure how tall we are. Most of us also have a thermometer. A lot of us also have a blood pressure cuff at home. And a few of us even have a pulse oximeter. To help with the neurological examination, hunt around for a flashlight. And to help test sensation, a Q-tip, something pointy but not sharp, and even an ice cube can be very helpful. Another thing you can do to make the most out of your virtual visit is to make time and a place for the appointment just like you would if it was at the doctor's office. In terms of time, Set aside the appointment time plus about 15 minutes on either side. After doing dozens of virtual visits, I can tell you that they can be less time flexible than office visits. Most platforms have what's called a virtual waiting room. Unless you've made other arrangements with your doctor, try to be in the waiting room between 5 and 15 minutes before the start of your appointment and expect your doctor to be on time or minimally late. Staying in the waiting room longer than is needed can actually take up internet bandwidth and can affect call quality for other users. In terms of space, try to find a quiet private location that's large enough so that you can actually move back from the camera so that the doctor can examine you. Try to avoid backlighting or sitting in front of a window, for obvious reasons. To get the most out of your virtual visit, it's also important to understand how that visit will flow. To start the visit, your doctor's office will probably send you a secure link that may be password protected. It's very important not to share that link with anyone, or there could be security issues. At the beginning of the visit, the doctor is probably going to hold up their ID card so that you can verify the doctor's identity. The doctor will also ask you for some demographic information so that they can be sure that it's you that they're talking to. In addition, your doctor is probably also going to read you a telemedicine disclaimer. After that, you're probably going to review some general medical information, things like your current medications, allergies, medical history, surgical history, family history, possibly your pharmacy, and your vital signs. Next, you're probably going to have a fairly detailed conversation with your doctor about your headache history, and it's probably a good time to bring out that headache calendar if you have it. After discussing your condition with the doctor probably will want to perform a virtual examination. The examination can be short or it could be long, depending on whether you have seen the doctor before or this is the first time you're seeing them, and depending on the condition that you're seeing them for. There is no one-size-fits-all neurologic examination, so the doctor may do anything from checking your memory, to checking your vision, to having you move close into the camera to check your pupils, or far away to check your finger-to-nose coordination. They may even ask you to stand up, to balance with your eyes closed, or do a push-up into the wall or on the floor. After your physical examination, you and your doctor will have a discussion about your diagnosis or possible diagnoses as well as any needed tests. In addition, you and your doctor are probably going to discuss a treatment plan as well as a plan for follow-up. Your doctor will probably put that in writing, and you can access it through your patient portal. The last thing you need to know about your virtual headache visit is that the virtual headache visit has limitations. There are two things that the virtual visit can't do. The first is to look in the back of the eye, which is called the fundoscopic examination. The fundoscopic examination is very important, and it's even more important in cases where there is a suspicion that headaches are being caused by elevated pressure on the brain. Optometrists and ophthalmologists can do a fundoscopic examination, but probably with the same risks and restrictions involved in seeing a neurologist. Another weak point of the virtual examination is the inability to do an accurate reflex examination, which can be very important to detect structural problems involving the brain and spinal cord. So it could turn out that your virtual visit leads into an in-person visit if the benefit outweighs the risks. So that brings us to the end of today's episode of the Headache Channel, where we talked about how to get the most out of your virtual headache visit. The Headache Channel publishes scheduled episodes on the first and third Wednesdays of every month, and special edition episodes whenever it matters most. Here's a link to other Headache Channel episodes, and if you click the channel logo right there, you can subscribe. Until next time, I'm Dr. Alexander Krobe. Stay well.